So today we're going to make prayer beads. To make them, you'll need a pair of scissors, some fishing line, a small cross, 28 beads, 5 larger beads, and if you would like, you can use spacer beads, which would be seed beads. And it would also be helpful to have a paper clip. So to begin, we take our fishing line and put the cross onto the fishing line, or thread the fishing line through the cross, and bring it to the center. If you're using spacing beads, you'd put one spacing bead on there now, which would both parts of the fishing line would go through the spacer bead. Then you would take one of your larger beads and again put both pieces of your line through that. Then another space bead if you're using them. Come back into the picture. Oops. You don't have to do them both at the same time. You can put them through one at a time. And then another of the large beads, if you can find the hole. And for this, the final part of this beginning step is one more spacer bead, which is going to share both pieces of fishing line. Now we'll separate the fishing lines and add one spacer bead, and continuing to work with this side. We'll get rid of the scissors here. Put a spacer bead and then your smaller beads. A smaller bead followed by a spacer, and you continue doing this until you have seven small beads, ending with a spacer bead. So what have we got there now? 3, 4, sometimes it's easier to chase the beads than it is to pick them up and thread them on. So maybe that's what we'll do. 5, 6, 7, and ending with a space bead. And just push those down and count them to make sure that you've done this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then you would add one of the larger beads again. And continuing with the pattern, starting with the space bead and 7 smaller beads, ending with the spacer bead. When you get to the end of that combination, take your paper clip and put it on the fish line so that as you're working on the other side, you won't lose what you've done over here. So I'm going to turn the video off now and finish this side and work up to this side, and then I'll come back and show you how to finish them off. And we're back. We have all of our beads on each side. You'll notice that on the left hand side I have one extra bead, one extra large bead. Don't worry, that's where it's supposed to be. So you can take the clip off of your other side and now tie a square knot. So it goes left over right and under, and snug those up a bit, and then right over left and under. This is always a little bit tricky when you're working with beads and fishing line, because they don't want to cooperate. But try as best you can to get them snugged up. And it may take a little bit of maneuvering and patience. There, like that. So now, I don't like to just cut this and leave that knot or exposed. So what I do is take one side of the fishing line and run it back through the beads, and it'll go quite easily. And you'll notice that there is some play, which you'll need when you're using the beads, because you want them to be able to slide a little bit. So I've run that back under 5 beads. I think I'll go another 1 or 2. Oh, it went 4 beads that time. And then I'll just leave that for a minute and go to the other side and maneuver the line back through some beads on this side. I think I'm trying to be a little too ambitious over here. Let's try that again. There. Now you can take your scissors and just cut those pieces, excess pieces off quite closely. And there you have your prayer beads, which you can go back to the newsletter and find out the names of the beads and how you can use them to pray, or maybe you just keep them in your pocket as a fidget device, but fidgeting with a purpose.